The race to be the Arsenal striker is heating up, and today we need to talk about whether it really and truly is Šeško or Gyökeres or someone else to claim the throne as Arsenal's new number 9. I'm Ty Knight here for TK24 Sports. If you're new to the show, like, subscribe, and turn on notification on. Road to 1,000 subscribers. It's on. Let's get into it. So, Šeško, Gyökeres, or someone else? That is the big question for me that I have to you. What are your thoughts on that matter? Is it Šeško? Is it Gyökeres? Or is it someone else? Because now Gyökeres is coming out and saying to everyone, I just want Arsenal. That is it, period. There's no other name mentioned in the mix. Of course, the last week and the week before, we had rumours of it being Manchester United, that he was open to Manchester United. No doubt, Andrea Berta has had conversations with him, with his camp, and said, would you be interested in coming to Arsenal? Is that the likely destination you'd like to come to, either coming to the Premier League or is it Manchester United? And by that, it's literally come out with, I want Arsenal. Benjamin Šeško, on the other hand, is quiet. His camp is quiet. We know Arsenal are in negotiations with RB Leipzig, but RB Leipzig doesn't seem to want to be playing ball. They want a certain figure, whereas Viktor Gyökeres' camp have been fighting for the figure that they had believed to be agreed to leave for the 60 million to 70 million euros, pounds, whatever you want to call it, this summer. The only one thing I can say to you about the Benjamin Šeško, why I guess it's stalling, Benjamin Šeško stupidly signed a new deal last year with a new release clause, which in all intents and beliefs, it kept on rising and rising and rising. And his terms of the financial figure, it could cap up to what, 80 to 100 million euros. That is a crazy amount of money for a 22-year-old who really and truly hasn't proven much, in my opinion. As good as I think he is, I've seen some stuff that proves he's not a finished article for 80 to 100 million pound player. But Gyökeres is not a complete striker. No one is really truly is a complete player. I shouldn't say no one, because you can look at Messi, you can look at Ronaldo, you can look at R9, Maradona, Pele. All these players were pretty much a near complete player. But in today's standards of a Šeško versus Gyökeres, one versus the other, you could turn around and say they both have their flaws, but they both have their brilliances at the same time. And either player can make a difference for Arsenal, that is for sure. But the main difference is, who does Mikel Arteta want more? And I think we know the answer to that, which is a Benjamin Šeško, as to what we're led to believe. 2 years hunting this player is now trying to push Andrea Berta to go down that road. But if RB Leipzig are saying, playing hardball and saying it's going to cost you this amount of money, Andrea Berta's job is there to get the best deal possible for the best player to help Arsenal win a Premier League or a Champions League. And no doubt, there's money that still needs to be left over to go out and get another creative midfielder, another left winger, and other players to fill that void as well. We know Kepa's coming in for 5 million, which is no big deal. We know Zubimendi's on his way, no big deal. But the big deal is who is going to be the starting striker for Arsenal Football Club. And Mikel Arteta needs to put his ego aside, put his personal beliefs aside, and listen to Andrea Berta and say, this is the best player. Out of the two options we've got here, this one's going to cost us between 80 to 100 million overall package, where this one could potentially just cost us 60 to 70 million overall package in terms of get the wages, that's the transfer fee. Gyökeres on paper is a phenom. He just scores goals. And really and truly, that's what Arsenal need, is a phenom in the box, is a phenom who can deliver goals after goals. I don't do the penalty thing where you say you take away his penalties and he's no good after that. But you have to be good from 12 yards on a dead ball. And that's what Gyökeres can do. But will he get the chances in the Premier League or in England altogether, as he does in Portugal, remains to be seen. Is Benjamin Šeško going to be able to deal with the pace of the Premier League, with the physicality of the Premier League? It remains to be seen. You can turn around and say, well, Gyökeres has played for Coventry. He knows what it's like. He's played for Brighton as well. So he knows what the physicality is like. He did score goals in the Championship. So you've got to give the points to Gyökeres. But will Mikel Arteta, now this is the key, will Mikel Arteta change his philosophy just for Gyökeres. And that is the hard point there. That right there is the hard point because when we had Aubameyang, he just shipped him out to the left afterwards to prefer a Lacazette, and you can see the sort of player that he wants to lead the line. He wants a player to be more involved in the game rather than just relying on getting the ball to him to score the goal, which is really and truly what we need. So, what are your thoughts on this one? Does Gyökeres lead a better line for Arsenal, or is it Šeško because he's going to be up and coming and we can mold him to the way we want? But one thing I will say is this: Mikel Arteta needs to get this right because I believe this is going to be his last rodeo at Arsenal. If you go for Šeško, you're building for the future without Mikel Arteta. If you get Gyökeres, you're building for now to win now to keep your job long term. And that's how Mikel Arteta has to look at it. He can't be looking to the future because he's not going to have a Diego Simeone moment where he's just going to be there forever and keep on trying to build and trying to build. I just don't believe the Kroenkes are going to be going for that. They got Andrea Berta in for a reason. And then pivoting to maybe a Gyökeres now because he's come in, smells to me the victory is going to be going towards Gyökeres than maybe Šeško. But what about this one? When I say another striker, I didn't mention that. Who could it be? Could it be an Ollie Watkins? He's still out there. That's not a striker that Arsenal fans will go crazy for. They'll actually lose their shit over having an Ollie Watkins in over than a Šeško. Believe me on that one. But what if Arsenal actually was playing a game here and they managed, hear me out, to bring in a Šeško and a Gyökeres? Because Šeško can play wide left. He can play inside forward. He can do that. You bring in a Gyökeres who will lead the line and score the goals, but you bring in a Šeško at the same time who can provide assists and a goals like he does for IB Leipzig. Even though he plays up front with the two, but he can drift wide. He can do that. He can. Oh God, I'm about to say something that's going to go crazy. He can maybe do what a Mo Salah does in a sense of be an outlet, be a secondary striker who can score the goals, but you've got Viktor Gyökeres who can be there as well. It confuses the defence. If you have these two players with a Bukayo Saka on the right, Martin Odegaard there just behind, my goodness, that would be exciting for Arsenal. So is Arsenal actually playing the game here? Are they using Šeško for Gyökeres, or they're using Gyökeres for Šeško, or they're using both for them and get both deals agreed and get both deals over the line? Now that would be blockbuster. That's my opinion there. What's yours? I'm Tyler here for TK 24 Sports.